In 1765, the French philosopher Denis Diderot lived a quiet, contented, and largely impoverished life. He was highly respected among intellectuals as the co-founder and writer of the influential encyclopedia. His fortunes changed when Catherine the Great, the Empress of Russia, heard of his financial troubles and purchased his personal library for the equivalent of $60,000. Flush with cash, Diderot decided to make a single indulgent purchase, an exquisitely beautiful scarlet robe. When he hung the garment in his home, it broke the visual harmony of his humble surroundings. His initial joy rapidly soured into a creeping, visceral disgust. Beside the magnificent fabric, his old straw chair and wooden desk suddenly looked pathetic. Anthropologists call this the Diderot unity, a cultural rule dictating that a person's possessions must form a coherent, matching reflection of their identity. Driven to restore that harmony, he replaced his old rug with one from Damascus. He bought new sculptures and swapped his simple seating for Moroccan leather furniture. Within a short time, Diderot had depleted his windfall. He was plunged into deep debt, overwhelmed by severe existential dread. He documented his financial ruin in an essay, warning the public about the specific curse of possessing more taste than fortune. Diderot's essay serves as the earliest formal documentation of how a single aesthetic choice can systematically dismantle a person's financial stability. Diderot's disastrous spending spree was not simply a lack of discipline. He was responding to the ancient, deeply ingrained priorities of his mesolimbic circuitry. This visualizes a positive prediction error. When a consumer upgrades to a new luxury tier, the brain registers an anomaly. This triggers a massive dopamine surge. But as the person adjusts, the brain resets the signal back to baseline. Through this biological habituation process, the thrill of the new purchase fades as the reward is integrated into the brain's baseline expectations. Because the neurological reward for luxury is strictly temporary, the brain requires constant, novel inputs to reach that specific chemical high again. This chart shows the darker side of the biological trap. Reverting to a lower consumption tier, or even just staying stagnant, registers in the brain as a negative prediction error. The drop in signal results in a dopaminergic dip. To avoid this discomfort, the brain unconsciously moves the consumer to seek the next luxury upgrade. Researchers term this incentive salience. It transforms the desire to be whole into an uncontrollable repetition compulsion. The drive for matching elevated possessions operates as a biological survival mechanism, prioritizing the maintenance of an established social or aesthetic status. When this individual glitch scales up to the modern macroeconomic landscape, the results are devastating. This bar chart segments consumer income brackets, revealing a startling data point. 1/3 of consumers earning over $250,000 annually are living paycheck to paycheck. Economists have a formal classification for this demographic, the wealthy hand-to-mouth. They boast 758 FICO scores, own large homes, and have maxed out 401ks, yet they possess zero liquid cash. To survive, they rely heavily on credit. The average wealthy hand-to-mouth consumer uses 44. For many high earners, a higher salary functions as a mechanism for maintaining a more expensive, more rigid standard of living. This neurological trap occurs in nature by accident, but modern consumer environments are not accidental. They are highly engineered ecosystems designed specifically around these biological vulnerabilities. If our own biology accidentally bankrupts us to chase a chemical high, what happens when the world's most powerful megacorporations trigger these exact dopaminergic pathways on purpose? For centuries, the Diderot effect was understood as a psychological quirk, a human tendency to make cascading, reactive purchases after acquiring a single high-status item. Today, that vulnerability serves as a digitized, automated infrastructure engineered to extract wealth. The engine driving this extraction relies on deep convolutional neural networks and flexible bidirectional transformers. These machine learning models are trained on millions of consumer interactions to predict the next logical purchase in a lifestyle sequence. This 3D grid is a style space, the backbone of complete the look algorithms. It projects products into a mathematical environment, calculating the visual distance between a lamp, rug, and sofa. This curated cluster intentionally triggers cognitive dissonance against the consumer's existing possessions. This algorithmic curation effectively removes consumer hesitation. Retailers utilizing these models see average order values increase by up to 50%, while conversion rates frequently double. Algorithms mathematically curate your consumption to ensure your capital is systematically converted into depreciating lifestyle upgrades. Once a purchase is made, the architecture of modern commerce shifts from acquisition to containment. Corporations utilize digital ecosystem lock-in to prevent consumers from migrating to competing brands. Thomas Burnham's framework identifies procedural costs as the time and effort to learn a new system. Financial costs follow, requiring the abandonment of software investments. Finally, relational costs encompass the emotional friction of losing social networks and brand identity. In the 1980s, a computer was a discrete standalone object. Its utility was contained entirely within its own hardware. By artificially restricting application programming interfaces and blocking third-party interoperability, companies forced consumers to integrate their digital lives into a single proprietary network. Switching now requires a consumer to calculate the cost of replacing their phone, tablet, watch, and digital payment history all at once. Manufactured interoperability barriers turn a single hardware purchase into an inescapable financial residency. Human beings are loss-averse. Handing over physical cash triggers the pain processing regions of the brain, creating a visceral psychological resistance to spending. Credit cards and digital wallets were designed to decouple the act of consumption from this neurological response. By removing the physical representation of money, the financial industry anesthetized the pain of paying. Mobile payments exploit a deeper psychological hack. Because consumers use smartphones for dopamine-driven activities like socializing and media, the brain associates the device with positive reinforcement. Paying with a phone actively evokes the pleasure of paying. This reduction in transaction transparency bypasses internal self-control mechanisms. Digital spending feels less real, leading to frictionless depletion of wealth. The modern economy curates the desire for upgrades, while simultaneously suppressing the brain's natural resistance to spending. If the retail environment is mathematically designed to drain your resources, your counter-strategy must be structurally designed to preserve them. Breaking the cashless effect requires the intentional reintroduction of transactional friction. Forcing yourself to use physical cash or traditional debit cards rebuilds the psychological pain of paying that tech companies spent billions of dollars to erase. Behavioral science offers commitment devices as a tool to overcome time inconsistency, the tendency to prioritize immediate rewards over future utility. Hard commitments involve voluntary arrangements that impose strict economic penalties for noncompliance. Placing capital in a certificate of deposit with rigid withdrawal fees forces saving by making premature access financially painful. Soft commitments utilize psychological barriers. Explicitly labeling savings accounts for long-term goals exploits exploitation of the cognitive bias of mental accounting, triggering feelings of guilt if you raid earmarked funds. You must structurally restrict your future choices to guarantee long-term capital preservation. Willpower alone cannot compete with a modern algorithm. Consumers remain trapped on a treadmill of depreciating lifestyle upgrades unless they leverage the exponential power of acquiring hard income-producing assets. Impact bias consistently causes humans to overestimate the duration of happiness a new purchase will bring. Within 2 months, hedonic adaptation resets the emotional baseline, sparking the next desire. Stoicism offers a defense through negative visualization, the deliberate, daily contemplation of losing one's current possessions. This practice short-circuits the hedonic treadmill. Shifting focus from what is missing in the curated algorithm to what is already possessed in reality lowers the adaptation rate. The Diderot Effect stems from the surrender of personal autonomy. When an object or an ecosystem begins dictating the lifestyle required to maintain it, the consumer has lost control over their own choices. Real financial autonomy is found in the quiet power of refusal, the ability to look at an entire engineered lifestyle and realize you have no need to own any of it.